2. Okay, it doesn't look like anything. I get it. You're probably wondering, hey, why are you in a garage? Garage, as we should call it today.
That's right. Look,
2 things.
we got a lot to address.
2 special guests here today. First, this is our new studio.
That's right. There's a lot to address, but yes, we're in a new studio. This is our studio.
Chateau de Cooligans.
That's right.
Huh?
That's an option. Please put it in the chat.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What should we call it? Also, it came with this British guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Aaron Moore, everybody!
How's it going? How's it going? I always feel so quiet compared to you two.
Yeah. We've watched your show. You're a very different energy than us.
I said to you guys, I'll do the show, but it needs to be as austere as possible. Or I'm not going to turn
Let me
up.
just Google austere real quick.
I'm allergic to soft furnishings. I will not come with this soft furnishings anywhere.
Buddy, we tried.
Yeah.
There's shelves that are on back order that we ordered.
I'll compromise on 2 rugs, but that's it.
We're
3, thank you.
Oh, there's 3.
There's
three.
a third
Sorry,
one.
there's 3.
Yeah, it really looks.
We really thought that would deaden the sound. We were wrong.
Look, we've kidnapped Luke Aaron Moore and brought him to our new space. But Luke, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Yeah.
You are in town. If people do not know who you are.
That's crazy.
One of the hosts and creators of the football Ramble.
Yes.
One of the most popular football podcast networks just in the world, without a doubt. And you did our show a couple years ago when we were at Fubo TV, and now you are back in town. The last time you were here, you were doing a live show at the Gramercy.
That's right.
And so what's the plan now? Why are you in town?
Just not anything as glamorous as that.
Okay.
No live shows this time around, sadly. But that was before COVID, right? It's 2019.
Yeah, just before it.
Back today for just for meetings, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Hang out.
Ooh, meeting.
Business.
Yeah.
They out here for business. You feel me?
Yeah.
There's
But
a
I
live
should
show
also
happening at the conference room.
I should also say my captors are treating me very well. I'm being fed and watered.
Read it like we wrote it.
And I'm blinking, torturing Morse code into the
Morse
camera.
code.
So look, we're excited about our new space. This is a.
You would hope so.
You should
Yeah.
be,
I'm just saying. I'm just letting
He's
people,
doing the NPR thing, guys. We're really excited about
I'm
this
letting
space.
people know because.
By the way, there's 2 people you can't see. There's a ton of boxes, cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening on this side of the camera. This way, it's just a carpet.
a couple people.
And a door.
And a
You
door.
want to leave, like a metaphor.
I'm trying to block it, by the way.
A couple people are already suggesting that this looks like a porn studio. That we
Yes.
should get a casting couch.
A nice Cobra said, do we get to see the casting couch today?
So get all the jokes in early.
If that's the case, I'm here under false pretenses. I just want to make that clear.
Okay.
Camilo Garcia said, my 2 favorite soccer podcasts together. That's right. The football ramble is the soccer ramble today, boys.
I thought you were going to say like the Cooligans and the Cooligans Extra or something.
So look, we just want to make sure we say to everyone, we're excited about the future of what this space is going to be like, the future of the Cooligans.
You're going to get to see it happen and evolve in real time because we can't afford to do it all at once.
Okay? So
Show must go on.
we'll grow together.
Yeah. Eventually, it'll sound better. It'll look better. But just wait.
Is it
Make
true
some
that,
suggestions.
Is it true that one of the Patreon benefits is that people can come here and build your furniture?
It's the please level.
We need all the help we can get level.
Yeah.
Jamal said, yo, who is the new dude? He's one of your peoples.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, a lot to discuss. Obviously,
Michael Raymond said, hey, where's the tetas? Oh, they're coming. We had a stress boob in our old studio.
Okay.
It was a squeezable boob made for stress relief.
Why are you telling me this?
Because the fans are big fans of it.
Okay, right.
And they want to see the stress
Okay.
teta, as we called it.
Theta is also, that's how you say boob in Spanish.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Is this why you wouldn't let me do any prep?
Yeah. Also, we don't do prep. But second of all, if you knew we were going to bring up Teta within 5 minutes of the show starting, would you have stayed in this empty bunker?
I don't really know what this is now.
No one does, dude.
I promise we'll get to the sport that we all love in a moment.
See what happens when you leave us and don't tell us what to do with the sport for 50, 60 years? This is what happens.
The natural conclusion to that.
So welcome everybody to the Cooligans. We are joined by Luke Aaron Moore. Shout out to all the Meadowlark family.
It's the Cooligans, buddy.
That is Poppy letting us know, always welcoming us. Look, Luke Aaron is going to be speaking Spanish by the end of this episode, right?
He's going to be singing Guantanamera and dancing salsa.
The guy in the lobby spoke Spanish to me for a bit.
Yeah.
I just jumped in the lift.
Because you look so Dominican.
I did the elevator as quick as I could.
So, all right, I think the first place we should begin today is...
Oh, wait, hold on. Justin Freeberg said Blake...
I can't get to the show.
No. Blake Bamore on the Booligans today. They're going to add B's to everything.
That's
so you're
okay.
now Blake Bamore.
Works for me.
Okay. We should obviously address the fact that the last couple days have been obviously a lot's in the news. Obviously, the Premier League was postponed. The Queen passed away. And
Condolences to your nation. Thanks.
we are all kind of. I think it's interesting as Americans, so kind of enamored with the Premier League. I'm wondering how the postponement of matches affects the English, because there's something to our Saturday mornings that are, like a kid who watches Saturday morning cartoons.
It's replaced our cartoons.
It's replaced.
Right, yeah.
And now that has been, taken away, how is it? Because online, some people are, they obviously they're very understanding, and then there's fans that they just love the game more than anything else.
Yeah.
But what's that loss sort of the sport, of the national sport, sort of feel like?
Yeah, it's obviously it's keenly felt in the UK as well. But I think the lower league games are still happening, right? So there's some other.
They
games
said they're
happening.
bringing them back.
Yeah.
And
So it's obviously a huge part of people's weekend routine, and I think next weekend is going to be possibly postponed as well, because the police resources needed for all the events that are going on.
At least in London as well, right? That's the big issue.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's the same. It's people don't want the games to be postponed ever, but I mean, I guess needs must, I suppose.
Do you think there was there must have been a lot of husbands and wives being like, so
What we gonna do?
what do you do?
Well,
what do you do on a day like this?
There's a bunch of TikToks that I've been seeing of guys being like, "Hey, my weekend's open up, babe. Like I'm happy to do something."
The
together."
woman's just like, oh my God, I'm sure this is not what I wanted.
This is the only time I had to myself.
The mailman was coming over.
So is this a big test for you guys to do the show today with no Premier League to talk about?
You think we actually talk about the sport?
not so much, no.
We get around to it. I brought up a stress boob within 5 minutes.
Well, the one thing that happened since we were on last week is Chelsea's manager was relieved of his duties.
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel.
America won. That's what happened.
And this
Why
is
don't you say what you said earlier? You road tested earlier the idea of using the phrase sacked.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you wanted to check if you were using it right, which you were, and now you've
Because
bottled
you
it
said
and not done it.
you said he got the sack.
That's fine.
Okay. See, when
Where
I
did the term come from? Do you know?
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Also bottling.
But you say, it's a bit like when they sack a quarterback, right?
yeah.
You instantly, for a minute, relieve him of his duties because he can't throw the ball. So it could be the same thing.
He's been relieved of his duties. And a boxing match again.
What a memorable call.
Oh, damn. Yo, did you see Charlie get hit by a car? Yeah, dude, he got relieved of his duties, bro.
Do it. Do the sack. Say the sack.
Thomas Tuchel got the sack.
He got sacked.
See, but I said the sack, which sounds
Either works. Either's
okay.
fine,
Okay,
yeah.
That sounds like they handed him balls. Hey.
So, look, at least from our perspective, look, we have this Christian Pulisic is obviously a Chelsea player who has been, insulted by being put on the bench.
Dude, he's so good that the English is so scared playing us on November 25th in the World Cup. They've convinced Thomas Tuchel to bench him.
It's a conspiracy.
And Todd Bowley had to come in and buy the team to make sure that didn't happen. So
Finally.
that America could rise again.
Do you want to address these accusations, Luke Aaron Moore?
Go ahead, to you. You get the next 48 minutes to talk about
It's a $3 billion mistake. Yeah. Just so you know, no one in England is scared of playing the USMNT.
You're losing on November 25th.
And the reason I know is because whenever I come on and do American soccer shows, all you guys want to talk about is whether me as an Englishman thinks that your American players are good.
Yeah. We don't need to hear it. We're wondering if your players are good enough to keep up with Christian Pulisic.
So I think a lot of the kind of the response, at least definitely from Americans, is like, now that Thomas Tuchel is gone, Christian Pulisic will be a starter and will get more playing time. Do you think that was the thing holding him back, was just that this manager didn't believe in him?
Maybe, but I mean, Chelsea have always got a lot of good players. As they signed a lot of players in the window, and that's why the sacking of Tuchel's kind of interesting timing. We talked a lot in the UK about how Todd Bowley backed him, got these players he wanted, spent all this money, and then like 59 minutes into Aubameyang, who Tuchel wanted and who had his best years under Tuchel, had played 59 minutes. They fired the manager anyway.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of uncertainty there, and I don't think the fact that Christian Pulisic wasn't playing as much is because the manager didn't necessarily fancy him. I think he just had loads of options and loads of other players to play. And Pulisic has been decent in the Premier League in fits and starts, right? But he's not been like a standout brilliant. And so I don't know, and particularly when the signing of Raheem Sterling as well, which is another big forward player that they've signed. They just had a lot of options, I think. So, I mean, it depends.
Not what we wanted to hear.
Yeah, bro. I feel like you just don't want to call Tuchel a hater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. So
the two
we're going to
options
edit
we've got-
out everything you just said.
The two options we've got with American players going into the World Cup is the managers in the Premier League have a responsibility to either A, run them into the ground so they can't play, or not play them at all so they forget the whole sport.
Right.
And we've gone for B with Pulisic.
Right. I'm glad you get it, dude. It's about time
all
you
a big
got on
conspiracy.
board.
Yeah.
Here's what I truly believe. I truly believe that there is the idea still, it's starting to go away, and we could talk about Brendan Aronson, but there is the idea that American players, by virtue of being American, aren't good enough. That's, especially for the Premier League. That's the first thing. And I think that's starting to go away, but that still exists. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in Leeds. It started out as people were like, oh, we got this American coach. No one knows what he's doing. It started even before that when Chris Harmas got hired as an assistant coach under Ralph Rangnick. And they were like, look at Ted Lasso. Which, by the way, is a Puerto Rican dude from New York. You might want to watch him mouth when you talk about
happened to Bob Bradley as well.
That was, but I don't think he handled that well.
No, he didn't.
No, he handled that
by
terribly.
not being very good.
Yeah.
That was
but also
crucially.
being Bob Bradley. He's kind of a gruffy dude. We got credit for being the first people to make him smile or laugh during an
Ever.
interview.
Yeah.
His children haven't even been able to
Yeah. They gathered his grandkids around so they could see Grandpa smile once. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the Christmas spirit in him. What are you going to do? But when Christmas Armas obviously got a lot of jokes, it didn't help that the team wasn't doing well. What's his name? Jesse Marsh comes in.
Yeah.
Same thing. Ted Lasso, they got an American.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they bring in Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams. Oh, now he's just bringing in Americans. This is what was happening, blah, blah. The team's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Great, off to a great start. There's a chant for Brendan Aronson that the fans have started. The idea around Jesse Marsh is starting to leave. Do you think this will help? Are we in that middle of the turn? Are we in the apex of the turn of where the English start to, and I'm not necessarily saying love American players, but start to respect the players and the coaching that we're developing here?
No.
No, okay, good.
Okay, good. Right to the
No, I'm
point.
joking.
No.
So-
You're probably not, actually,
No.
which is unfortunate.
It's interesting because I do completely agree with your analysis there. I totally think there is a real lazy kind of tendency to dismiss anyone in football in the Premier League with an American accent, right?
Especially if you talk about it and you're fat and you sound like me. That seems to be a big issue.
Are they targeting certain people?
While we're fat shaming and clown shaming?
And I think that Ted Lasso's a part of that because that was a popular show. But there's just been situations back in the day when football was covered here in a kind of less educated way back in the day. So around like when they got the World Cup in '94.
Still is, by the way.
Yeah, but it's much better now. It's much better.
It's much better now.
And so people will certainly stereotype Americans present in the game. But I think Aronson, Marsh, Adams, a lot of players who essentially are going to be able to break through those stereotypes by just being good at their job is what's going to be the most effective thing to do, right? If you stand up there and Leeds win a trophy this year, it probably won't happen, but if Leeds win a trophy, or Aronson, just absolutely blitzes everyone because he's such a high energy, positive player, that's possible. People wouldn't be able to kind of deny it, and that's going to be the quickest path towards that. But I also don't think that really American Premier League fans should really care about that. I mean, there's always going to be idiots covering.
Yeah,
the
but
game.
there's a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. For example, there's a gentleman named Jamal who's an Arsenal fan from London, and he just said, where is it? He's still shit. oh, please, Mustafi had a chant. Aronson ain't special. Do you hear what we're dealing with?
Yeah. But I'm speaking to you as a British person who talks about football all the time and still gets all this stuff. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's because you're American. I think they'd find something else to have a go at you about if you weren't American.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say the hate or the negative comments that sometimes you'll get, and anyone on your show will get, or, you know, for example, people on the kickoff, things like that we can see, the comments, has made it a little bit easier for us because a lot of times they're specific to us being American.
Right, yeah.
But it's like if we weren't American, we'd still be getting, they would just cut that part out of the disrespect.
Yeah.
So I think it was Rory Jennings put up a clip.
Right.
And people were like, Rory doesn't know anything about football. I'm like, this guy's been around for forever. He's clearly a big Chelsea
If he
fan.
doesn't, I mean,
I'm like, if you don't
definitely
think he knows anything, then it's clear you're not going to think I know anything. So why am I getting upset?
Yeah. I guess that's a fair point. Yeah.
Is that part of the game for you? Like, have you've been podcasting now since what? Was it 08 that you guys started? 07.
Yeah. Well, it's part of it, yeah. I mean, you
What was a podcast studio like back then? You hit record on a cassette, and you
submitted
that. You sent that to Apple. How did it work
anyone
back
who
then?
knows me will know that I've never pressed the record button on anything in my entire life. Like earlier when our guys were looking at your kit, I was just down at the back thinking this is like a different language.
Yeah, your staff was looking at the kit, and you were like, "What does that play Mario Kart?"
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I, do you know what I was thinking? It looks like a drum machine.
I think if we didn't have these technical capabilities, we wouldn't have a show at all.
We got cleverer people who do it.
So what you started at a radio station?
So we started the podcast in our own time, but and to answer your question, we actually used to plug microphones into a mini disc player. That's how we used to do it.
Get out of here.
No, I'm being serious. Yeah.
And what the fuck did you do with the mini disc?
Yeah.
No one heard it?
No, you would. That's how you'd record it, and then you get the audio off the mini disc onto a computer, and then you'd edit it and put it out. Yeah.
That can't be real.
I'm telling you, it's real.
When was the
was
last
in
time you heard the
07?
word?
Even
When was the last time
07?
you heard the word mini disc? It might have been 05, dude.
That would be the shittest lie ever, wouldn't it? I mean, why would I make that up?
No, I know you're not making it up, but we're all wondering
Can I
why
tell
you
you-
did it that way.
Can I tell you my most vivid mini disc memory? This
Yeah.
was in high school.
Yeah.
I had a mini disc player. I was very proud of it, and I used to like record songs, like similar to the way you record the audio onto it. I used to record like songs from the radio and record it onto the mini disc player, so I could have
We
some.
sounded old as hell.
But this was I had a friend in high school who broke the mini disc player because I was sitting at the edge of the lunchroom table, and he like wanted to see. He's like, "You're sitting in my seat." He was like kind of joking around, but he was bigger than me, and I was a tiny kid, and he
Should we recreate it? Because I'm bigger than you.
and he pulled my arm and pulled me off of the table, and I had my headphones in, pulled that mini disc, and it fell on the ground and just shattered. Everything broke. I was like so angry. I've never been angry in my life like this much, and I've also never been in a fight or anything like that. He sat in my seat, and I said, "You broke my mini disc player." And I smacked him across his face and knocked his glasses off.
Yes, there you
And
go.
He
and
could
you
have
broke his laser disc player.
It's like Will Smith
no.
and Chris Rock.
He
again.
could have. 100%. He could have murdered me.
Right.
Like I was just like had an out of body experience where I'm like I'm the strongest man in this school.
Right.
And he just looked at me and was like, "All right, I'll let it go." And he just didn't do anything. This was like in front of the school. Everybody saw me smack this much bigger kid than me.
Wow.
And he just let it go. He was.
I got the feeling this happened to Alexis every day at school.
Dude, I used to get smacked by these nerds all the time. But I would body them. Because I don't care. You show me respect. Give me your lunch. I had a mini disc player, and I used it 2 or 3 times, and I was like, this is cool, but it's cumbersome.
Yeah.
And then I just went and got an iPod.
I'm annoyed that the mini disc player broke after such a kind of small altercation because the commercial itself for the product was a guy skateboarding around New York City, and it was supposed to be a really hard-wearing piece of kit. So I mean, that's the real victim here, I think.
Can I ask when you switched out of this scene from the old movie Hackers to a real equipment?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about mini disc players anymore.
No. What was like? When did you get to where you are now? Because now you're obviously you own Stack. which used to be called Stankoff or something like
Stakhanov,
that.
yeah.
Stakhanov.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yeah, that's why we changed the name of it. By the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. I watched it. I'm
that.
like, what?
Exactly
Oh,
that.
cool. He started a podcast network with Putin's cousin. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, all the assets got frozen.
Yeah. Just like Chelsea got sold. So,
So real quick, Justin Freeberg just said, now Christian gets mad if there isn't kale in his chicken Caesar wrap.
I can believe that about you. Yeah.
100%. People are talking about bagels. He eats fake bagels.
Go on. Well, I don't know what that is.
It's a paleo bagel.
Right.
And
It's as sad
I still
as
don't know
what you
what
just. It's, you know what? Take a bite out of that mini disc player. It's about the same fucking thing.
It's a healthier bagel. My wife is a nutritionist. It's a whole thing.
My arch nemesis.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
You are really caught between good and evil here, man.
Without
You
doubt.
are
Yeah. Now they're calling you the Stinky Podcast Network. Did you know that shin in Italian is called a stinky?
I didn't know that.
We learned that.
It actually might be a stanko.
Right,
and two
okay.
are stinky.
Yeah, this is like sitting in a room where people just shout random stuff at you and you have to respond to it.
Okay, we're clipping that. That is literally what our show is.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. When did you get to now that you have this podcast network, you've grown and big. What made you want to go from doing a podcast, which is not easy, and you guys were doing it multi-days a week. You guys are really
Still are, yeah. Still are, yeah.
What made you decide to spread out into the podcast network, Aaron? We'll go back to the Premier League in a second, but I am interested in what made you want to get into this whole running a network thing.
Well, the football show was successful and had listeners and was doing well. And there was a couple of reasons. One was the people we had working on the show had different interests and different areas of expertise, I would say. And then there was opportunities that came in as well. So people were saying, look, could you do a show about this? Could you do a show about that? And so we just expanded. We just branched out with stuff we felt like we had a knowledge of. And it kind of went from there. And since then, we've done like 25 different shows now.
What was the first when you expanded?
Luke and Pete show, I think. Luke and Pete show.
Okay.
And then I can't remember. It was ages ago now. We did loads of different types of shows. So we also enlisted like some of our friends who were also broadcasters or comedians or whatever. So we had a movie show called Clash of the Titles. We had a Japanese culture show, which both are still going, called Abroad in Japan, which is between my colleague Pete and a guy called Chris Broad who lives in Japan, and they talk about Japanese culture, which is based on like a YouTube show that Chris Broad, the other host, does.
Which I think I've seen.
Yeah, you might have done. It's quite
He looks like
popular,
me if I shave my beard.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
I have seen it.
Yeah, although I wonder if he
There
would
was
be
a giggle
unhappy with
there.
that.
All right, we
There
gotta
was a
see
giggle
this
there.
guy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Chris Broad is
He
Mate.
just looks like a fair-skinned guy with dark hair, and he's a little bit bigger, just a little bit. Now he's not a fat guy. He's just not
Chris
you.
what?
He's not
Chris
you.
Broad.
Thank God it's a dude and not a woman in Japan. That would have been so
Broad,
disparate.
as you would say.
B-R-A-U-D?
Broad.
Broad.
Broad. Broad. Oh, Broad. Okay. I thought
He spelled B-R-U-A-D.
What both
Tell me that doesn't look like me if I was English and shaved my beard.
what both your dads would have called a girl.
Tough subject. His dad just passed away 2 weeks
But
ago.
abroad, right?
Dude. And I don't have one.
Well, he was saying in
Jesus,
Spanish.
dude. If we can't talk about the big death in you can't talk about the big one over here, right?
Okay, so
Yeah, this guy got recommended to me on YouTube.
Yeah.
He has a crazy looking studio. He looks like he's in a pachinko. cellar.
Again, I don't know what that is.
Pachinko is that game that sounds all crazy. It's all the little beads that fall. They played in Japan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
let's see what the chat thinks. All right, I can kind of see it.
Yeah, look. If I was English and I shaved my beard, that would be me.
Okay. All right.
All right, don't get mad at me, bro.
Wait, but you said he was bigger?
I mean, he's not. I think he's a little bit different now. That's what I'm saying. You know how like you use the headshot from like the way you want it to be? You know what I'm talking about?
This is going down
Look
quite...
up his most recent video, dude. I'm
Can I
not
just
saying.
say, this part's going down quite badly for me.
I'm fine with it. I'm the one who's fat in this whole scenario. I mean,
Yeah, we can confirm Alexis is the fattest
yeah,
of all.
yeah. No, dude, you should be fine with your. First of all, you should be lucky to look like me. Let me tell you that. Wasn't Pachinko a game on The Price is Right? That's Palinko. Good job. Blinko. Blinko?
Palinko.
Palinko.
Oh, no, Plinko.
Plinko. That's his name.
That
if he
was
was
I
English.
got that.
What do you reckon it was? Like 90 seconds on Jesse Marsh and Aronson?
That's it. We talked about it.
Bit of Pulisic.
Mike Thomas put catfish. And if Alexis was much whiter, that's why I said if I was English. You know what I mean? We were talking about the Premier League. Taking a 3-week gap, this is an Arsenal-specific question, taking a 3-week gap and then playing in the North London Derby.
Yeah.
Do you think, because I'm of the idea that hurts both clubs. It's too high pressure of a match to have a 3-week and an international, like a 3-week break with an international break in the middle of it, playing that. Do you agree?
Well, I think it was always going to be the nature of this season to an extent because of the way the international calendar is with the World Cup and stuff. So there was always going to be an international break slightly later because I think normally it would be early September and this year around slightly later because of the World Cup. Then you've got the month break anyway. So I think the most successful teams in the Premier League this season, whatever their ambitions are, is going to be the story will be told by who can deal with these stop-start scenarios all the time. Now,
So it's a depth. It's a question of depth.
I think it's also a question of intensity. I think for Arsenal and for Spurs, if you're talking about it in the context of the North London derby, both squads are managed by coaches who are very intense, very on it all the time. Arteta's now finally got Arsenal all pulling in the same direction alongside his vision. And Conte's always been like that with the clubs he's managed. So I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't really affect them at all. But then, of course, there's no control in the experiment. So you know what would have happened because it's not going to happen. So ultimately, they've got to play these games. They've got to do it in a stop-start kind of way, particularly because of the World Cup. It's going to be a bit of an outlier of a season. It might throw up some quite surprising results, I think.
Here's something. While you were speaking, here's what I thought about, and I know you're going to hate this idea. What if we kept the World Cup in the winter?
No. It's just terrible.
This guy loves one-word answers.
But you know when people, this is the thing, and I've been in this position as well, Alexis, so I know where you're coming from. Sometimes you have an idea and you think, no one's ever mentioned that idea before.
Oh, no, I'm sure people have.
And it's either the best idea ever
Right.
or the shittest.
Right. So we're over here, right? Here's the thing. Premier League players, this is going to be better for you guys. You're going to be less, for all players that are based in Europe, players are going to be less worn out. It's the middle of the season. You're going to be in better form. You're not going to be gassed like you are in the
No, but
in
they'd
the
have
summer.
to play their domestic seasons through the summer, though, wouldn't they? This is an outlier of a season. They've had to squeeze it and compact it so much.
No. Other nations have a apertura and clausura. They split the season
Yeah.
in between two. Most other nations know to take a break in the winter. England refuses to do it.
Yeah,
because
refuse it.
Boxing Day.
Because
It's a
always-
day,
it's just
if you don't
rain.
remember, Boxing Day is where everyone fought each other.
They used
in
to play
England.
Christmas Day in England.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Can you survive a week without a ball being kicked in this country?
No, we can't. I don't think that's an answer. I think it's such a traditional part of summer for the whole of Western Europe, which I guess is the crucible of the sport. So I mean, it wouldn't happen.
Oh, it's the crucible.
Of course.
Europe is so important.
Birthplace. It's really
Oh my God. We had boats a long time ago, and that's why you know about the sport.
Oh, please accept me. We like football now. Oh, please respect us.
Actually, please do that.
Are our players any good?
Isn't Brendan good? Say the kid can give it back. I like it. I was just about to say. Oh yeah. Italy doesn't qualify for 2 World Cups in a row. I just want to hear your opinion. But they won a Euros.
Yeah.
If that were England, would
I'll
that be
take it.
acceptable?
I think most people in England would take any kind of. I mean, obviously, England women's won the European Championship.
Sure.
So that's
in men's football.
Yeah, in men's football it'd be huge because England have been so long without winning anything, and it becomes more and more embarrassing for us because we can't resist behaving like we're the best at football ever.
You sing
But we
it's
don't-
coming home.
Yeah, exactly. And then Germany sings that ironically to us when they beat us,
Right.
and it becomes a thing. I
Das
think
coming home.
it's a really good question because so you miss 2 World Cups, but in between you win a tournament. I would take that because I would enjoy the World Cup anyway.
We wouldn't take that.
Qualifying for the World Cup is too important for the
Yeah.
U.S.
It's the World Cup.
Yeah,
I
I mean-
don't understand how, as a nation, Italy isn't wildly embarrassed that you
They
can
are.
win the Euros.
They are.
But no, everyone I've spoken to was like, you take the trophy.
No, it's a
big-
massive disaster for them to not qualify for 2 World Cups in a row. It's unprecedented. They'd be pissed off about it big time. But winning the Euros in between, it's just a weird anomaly. Like, they can't understand why that's happened.
It's because they played you in penalties.
Yeah,
which
well,
is-
quite. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why.
But when they didn't qualify for the World Cup previous to this one, they hit like rock bottom. They got a new
people
coach.
resigned that day.
Exactly, and then they did so well in the Euros, and then with the same coaching staff, they have this disaster as well. It's inexplicable, but it is a disaster in Italy for sure, and it would be a disaster in England. But England didn't qualify in '94, for example.
Oh, I remember.
Right.
Yeah, and we didn't qualify in '08 for the European Championships either. So England have got that in their locker to not qualify occasionally. But I mean, to win a trophy, England men winning a trophy in football in England would be. I mean, it's unimaginable. It would be absolutely huge.
Well,
So so you don't qualify for the World Cup
Yeah.
in 2018.
How much power have you guys actually got here? Because Is this a genuine offer?
No.
Is this like, have I got to take this
Hold on.
back?
No, it's just air horns. I thought.
You want me to take this back formally to the people in the UK and say, that, here's the offer. Are you going to accept it or not?
I want to say I want to understand the scene. England doesn't qualify for the last World Cup. Obviously, it's bedlam in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Right. This
Well, it would be a lot of celebrations in some parts of the UK.
certainly, yeah. Liverpool would enjoy it.
The whole of Scotland.
Yeah. Seems like the North would really get into it. Ireland would certainly get into it. But okay, so you don't qualify. Obviously, it would be bad. But then you win the Euros. What's the reaction to winning the Euros? Just that part of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're talking about 2021,
Yes.
it was huge because it was the final was in England as well.
But imagine you hadn't qualified for the World Cup. What the reaction would have still been just as grand. It wouldn't have been any leftover hangover from not qualifying for the last World Cup.
I think people would forget that pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You win that.
Yeah.
And then you don't
I
qualify
understand
for
the
this World Cup.
concept.
Yeah. Okay, so you win that. What's
What
the
is this
reaction?
complicated math problem you are?
Maybe, wait, I think it's because we don't put the S on math. That's why they don't understand it.
Okay, you got to speak to our guests in a way you understand.
They do math schematics out there. I don't
The
know if
issue
you knew
is that
that.
I don't understand what you're saying.
So you win. All right. So look, a trophy has been won by the English national team,
Yeah.
and then you don't qualify for this World Cup.
Yeah.
Do you think there would the general mainstream feeling be, well, at least we won a trophy?
I don't feel like I can speak on behalf of a whole nation, but for me, I would take that.
Right.
Because it would be a monkey off the back. It would be like a tournament won, finally, after however, since 1966, a long, long time for the men's team. And I think that would give them a chance to reset and kind of assume a new identity, which admittedly, in your analogy, following that up by not qualifying for a World Cup would be a poor start to that new reality.
Yes.
We could potentially move on.
Yeah, because look,
If America had won the equivalent to the Euros is the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chuck Blazer.
Yeah.
Just like his apartment for his cats, gold. If we
Here's
had won,
I think a better equivalence is the US get invited to the Copa America and win that.
sure.
Because that's probably the equivalent in terms of South America, in terms of the standard, right?
right.
Because a lot of people would say
You do know that we're in a different continent.
No,
though.
I know that, but they invite teams all the time, right?
Yeah.
They invite Japan and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say the European Championship is of a higher quality in terms of the football being played, a better standard than the World Cup, because the teams are far better. There's not as many.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, just saying.
The world. But it's better if you just take a piece of the world. But the world, Europe doesn't involve Brazil or Argentina.
Well, it reminds me of
This is insane.
Did you see the comments that Mbappe made a couple weeks ago about qualifying for the World Cup in South America? Where I don't have the quote in front of me, but essentially he was just being kind of dismissive, like it's easy to qualify for the World Cup in South America, as opposed to in Europe where you have to play some very, very weak countries. I mean, we talk about the standard.
He said
of
it's
the
easier
game.
to qualify in South
Yes,
America?
Yes.
I don't agree with that.
Of
Yeah,
course
yeah, a lot of
not.
people
San
did.
Marino exists.
Yeah.
There's too many.
It's the top of a mountain. You're playing the baker. That's not. How is that? What?
You're an artisan. Okay, and a center back. Wow. So, but that's the thing is that we talk about the standard, but the standard, the high standard, is pretty concentrated when it comes to Europe.
But I think what I'm talking about though, so the European Championship has expanded recently to 24 teams. It used to be 16. When it was 16, it's not that. When you're talking about the standard of a
Has it
tournament.
expanded to the world?
No, but all I'm saying is when you get to the actual tournament itself, if you look at those 16 teams,
Right.
it is definitely arguable that is going to be a very, very high standard when compared to the World Cup. Now, of course, you can have Brazil, Argentina, some other teams, but you also get some quite poor teams in the World Cup as well. And England, when they did well in 2018, they played Panama. You know, this ain't a great team.
Easy.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
There's a couple Panamanians knocking on the door.
I've got no beef with the nation generally. I'm just saying, on the pitch, they were poor.
Yeah.
So I think there is definitely an argument to be had that maybe not so much since it's expanded, because, of course, you increase the amount of teams by 50%. It's obviously going to change. But back when it was 16 teams, I think there's a decent argument for that.
Okay, so someone's taking your side on this. Shouts to Crimson Pizza, big fan of the show. He says, let me put this into Alexis terms. Would you rather eat all the pizza from a New York Pizza Championship or a USA Pizza Championship where each state sends their best pizza? If no other states are making it into, it's just going to be New York anyway. So do I sound like him now?
Oh my God. Yeah, look.
Jamal said, San Marino, okay, you play Nicaragua. Nicaragua's a tough team. They're not just a mountaintop.
Look, it's difficult. Each continent has their own challenges. Like in CONCACAF, when U.S. has to go play.
I am La Lucha wants to know where you get your weed.
But when we have to go play Panama, when we have to go play Honduras, these matches are going into incredibly hostile environments. It's not simply just playing those 11 players on the pitch that are in front of you.
Yeah.
It is, you're competing with the fans. You're competing with people throwing bags of urine at you as you're walking onto the field. There's a lot
Also,
involved.
there's the hotels shut off the air conditioners. They honestly, they
But
turned off the hot water.
I'm not debating any of this.
Yeah.
It's not the point I'm making.
It gets real CONCACAF-y, as we like to call, which is...
I just think this idea.
Jamal said you play against drug dealers. They're not all of them, Jamal. Only a couple narcos make their way onto the national teams.
I think I just want it to be more people in Europe, more people to be aware of the very unique challenges that come with qualifying for a World Cup
Also,
in this federation.
South America, which we were a part of the qualifying, there's 10 nations, a lot of which are very, very strong. And you have to play each other multiple times.
And it goes on for ages as well. And
Yeah.
and you've got real challenges playing in places like Bolivia and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Correct,
yeah.
correct,
I mean,
correct.
you're playing literally close to clouds.
Yeah.
The breathing, there's difficulty breathing. The ball bounces much higher because you're literally up in the sky. I mean, these are difficult places to play. So it's not as easy as showing up to Italy for a little vacation and then you play the concierge of your hotel.
I think you've
who happens to be the center back in San
I think you've
Marino.
both taken this way too personally.
No. I think it's important because we don't typically have a British person to yell at.
I knew it. And I was prepared for that. Yeah. I knew that was gonna
Finally, a
happen.
pincushion.
The great thing is once
Manchester Sanders said, you're taking the piss. Shouts to Manchester Sanders.
once you two have stopped shouting at me, you bring some comments in.
Yeah. I mean, most people are on your side, to be honest with you.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, CONCACAF perfected the dark arts of shithousery. Thank
What
you
I would
very
say to your
much.
listeners is that they need to crucially remember this. I don't actually know anything about football. It's just I've got an English accent. People
Got it.
assume I do.
Yeah,
I've just not been found out. That's how it works.
Well, we don't know anything about soccer. So together, I think we make a really good
And
team.
that's why I wanted to come on the show today.
Yeah.
Mike Thomas said England would melt in Central America. So yeah.
What is going to happen with the English team?
This
having
Englishman's currently melting in New York
Yeah,
City.
yeah,
so
yeah,
I gotta agree.
We have to shut the AC off for this show, so I apologize.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? I hope this doesn't start making a sound. Let me decline that because I think that got on the stream. I apologize. What's going to happen with the English national team having to play in Qatar in the heat alone?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how hot it's actually going to be that time of year.
I forget centigrade, but they say it's like 80
Yeah.
in the 80s.
It's going to be a dry heat.
It was
right?
like 30.
Yeah, but I don't think that's hugely dissimilar to what they would play in a Summer World Cup for the majority of the time.
Okay.
And England's record in World Cups overall is obviously very poor. So I imagine
Undefeated
it'd be more
against
of
the
same.
US are undefeated against England.
Yeah,
in
well,
World
I can
Cup.
remember. Was it 2010?
Clint
Yeah.
Dempsey, baby. Was
Yeah.
it Green? Was the
Yeah,
keeper?
the goalkeeper. Yeah, he spilled one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call it he squibbed it, right? They
Yeah.
called it that on the and we got made fun of for that.
Is that what you? Is that what we? I've never heard that word.
It's I think it's an NFL term. It's like where
Okay.
you squib the catch or something. I forget how
Well,
it
they would
came.
call it a fumble, no?
Well,
That's
there's
if you hold it and then drop it.
There's a squib kick. A squib kick is when you make it intentionally bounce on the ground.
The term can be used multiple ways.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
But I think we got
Beauty
made
of
fun
language. It's the beauty of language.
Which
We
is-
remixed yours.
It's just an. Just
We
an
took yours and then we advanced it forward.
Yeah.
Actually, we talked the more classic version of it.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Shouts to William Shakespeare, who sounded exactly like me. And from what I heard when he was in Japan, he looked exactly like me too. If I saved my beard. Justin Reberg said, Luke speaks for the entire Football Ramble crew and England. Could you imagine if Pete came on the show?
Yeah.
We do have to have some of the other guys on.
Pete is in New York City at the moment,
Yeah.
but he can make it today.
Ah,
but
he's
he is
the
around.
crazy one. I
Yeah.
like Pete.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you think I'd talk a load of crap,
Yeah, he does talk shit, and we like
you
that.
never know what you're going to get with Pete.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I do want to talk about the World Cup a little bit. Look, I think you obviously know where we lie when it comes to in this group.
Yeah.
It's obviously England, Iran, the United States, and Wales. So after the U.S. finishes top of the group,
Where do you guys think you're
What do
gonna
you think?
finish?
How do you think
Who
it's
think
going
you
to shape
qual-
out?
We'll sign on for second place right now. We'll take that right now.
You can't do this with Luke.
Yeah.
He's like, we'll take second. We ain't scared.
No, I think England will be the favourites, won't they? I think
In
England
your
will be-
nation, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone goes crazy as soon as the World Cup comes around. Thinks England are going to win it in England.
Yeah.
But US are a good team. Like, joking aside, they're a good team. Wales have got a lot of good players. I don't know that much about Iran. I think they'll struggle probably. But I don't think the US should be pessimistic. I think they should be very optimistic.
Let me make a case for USA finishing top of the group. The game against England will be much bigger for us than it will be for you.
That's fair. Yeah.
Wales versus England will be a bigger game for Wales than it will be for
Also
you.
fair. Yeah. Yeah.
Iran versus US will probably be a bigger game for them than it will be for us.
Yeah.
But that's really going to be the only team that's going to walk into a match against us specifically wanting to beat us for some type of bragging right or something. You guys are going to be facing competition that is wanting to beat you for the purpose of saying we got to beat them.
But I think that in tournament play, I think that's pretty much every team against England.
What I'm saying is there's going to be a little bit more of an edge.
Yeah.
The U.S. will have more of an edge walking
Sounds like
into
you're
the-
going to make sure of it.
I've spoken to the national team manager, and I said, yo, you need to be wearing all black low-top Air Force Ones. We need to set the vibe, Greg Berhalter. I said that to his face. He goes, yo, you think so? I'm like, yo, we're going to turn U.S. men's national team into Felony FC. You know what I mean?
You're going to erect a cage around the thing.
An octagon, dude. Call Qatar, build it.
Yeah.
I think each nation is just going to have a little bit more of an edge, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder playing against you than any other one. I can see Wales holding you to a draw. I can see the U.S. holding you to a draw. And I can see the U.S. beating Wales and beating, I almost said Ireland, Iran. Not saying it's going to be easy to do that. I'm saying I could see that scenario, and that means England either finishes in second or possibly doesn't come out of the group.
Well, I think first and foremost, it doesn't necessarily benefit you to win the group. You got to look at what the other group happens.
But then don't you play the second worst?
Yeah, but it depends what happens in their group.
Yeah.
You're just one upset away or one kind of weird result away from playing someone really tough in the second round if you win your group. So it's not always the best way to do it anyway. But I don't have a big problem with what you said there. I think that could easily manifest itself. But I think from England's point of view, it's going to be interesting to see whether they're at the end of a cycle or whether they can continue to build, because you've got to put it in context. England had a poor record in tournaments until Gareth Southgate came in, and then they go semi-final and they go final. It depends on whether that's going to be the end of the cycle and there's going to be a big amount of inertia and they're going to disappoint in the World Cup and Southgate's going to move on, or whether they're going to continue to build. And it could go either way. And if the US get after England and really try and test them, there's every chance they could get a positive result. I genuinely believe that.
I want to.
You know what sucks is you're not patriotic enough.
You didn't want to hear that.
It's because you married an American.
Yeah,
this is the difference.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
like, I don't care. I get the party no matter who wins.
I'm compromised.
Where's the MAGA version of the English? That's
We
what-
need a Brexit dude in here who's trying to fight us with blades on his hat.
My wife's from Connecticut, right? And she said to me last time I came on this show,
Yeah.
I think we spent a bit of time together in New York and stuff. And she said to me, "You want to tell that Alexis guy that the best pizza is actually from Connecticut?"
Oh,
and
New Haven?
And I was like, I cannot say that. You don't know. You don't understand. There's no way I'm going to be able to say that.
Tell your wife in the most respectful terms possible, we invented coal oven pizza. They found out about it because of us. So
Yeah.
Pepe, Sally's, Modern, Zupardi's, all of them, put them on a boat.
I'll just give you a number. You can tell yourself.
yeah. Hello, nice to meet you. Anyway, your pizza's trash.
Here's why you suck.
I actually did a morning radio show, the #1 morning radio show in all of New Haven, which is their pizza hub. And I called their pizza trash thinking this will get people to call in. And one of the people who called in was the owner of their most famous pizza, who's immediately said, "Who is this clown?" And I was like, I didn't know you were English.
I can tell he's fat on the phone.
But there's a famous pizza place in Connecticut, Frank Pepe's. You know
That's
that?
who called. Pepe.
Oh, okay, that's the guy, right?
Yeah.
So I've eaten there, yeah.
Yeah, Pepe Sally's is down the block.
Yeah.
Modern is in the area.
Well, you
Vienna
don't
Modern.
respect their work, no?
It's very good, but
Yeah.
very good and great are two very different things.
Yeah.
And Connecticut's never sniffed great when it comes to pizza. It's nice. It's cute. Okay, you got Brendan Aronson. Wow, big shock.
Oh wait, though the one thing I wanted to make sure to say about this, one thing we have not done with any of our English mates is maybe have like a little bit of a wager on this game.
Okay.
And I think this is something that we should do. The first thought that came to mind if the United States wins against England is maybe, Football Ramble has to do a complete episode where they have to use the word soccer the entire time.
You got to speak to the head of production about
Okay.
that. It's not my.
Okay, we got a nod.
It's not my choice.
We should look. That's just an idea, but I think there should be a wager.
We should have a wager for if we draw, right? We do something friendly.
Okay.
If U.S. wins, you got to call it soccer. The whole squad got to call it soccer the whole time.
How long for?
A whole episode.
A full episode.
And you no. And you cannot reference to anyone. Well, you guys don't have a chat or anything.
Yeah.
But you cannot reference why you're calling it. You just have to call it soccer and just annoy the shit out of your fans.
But the thing about a wager, as I understand it, is there's a potential upside for me as well.
Yeah.
Right,
and
right.
if the England wins, what would it be for us? We have to eat Marmite or some shit, or Vegemite or whatever it is you guys are
You got to
into.
take me to Frank Pepe.
And I have to quietly enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm up for that in principle. We should do that.
Yeah, I think we should do something. A nice
it.
little Cooligans Football Ramble wager. Why not?
Yeah.
We'll figure out what the chat. Let us know what it is. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, why don't you tweet at us? What should we do if the English national team beats the USA, which is not going to happen, in the World Cup on November 25th?
Are you guys genuinely like? I mean, and this is all very nice for content purposes, but genuinely, are you very confident?
I'm very confident.
I'm more confident than I think I even expected before the draw came out. I think the U.S.
Were you pleased that the US drew England?
We wanted it so
100%.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And definitely for content purposes, this is no better kind of draw that you could have gotten. Because I think it's hyped us up even more because of the constant. I think I mentioned this off air before on TikTok. Everything we post, we are now introduced to a British audience, and the comments are just like relentless. And part of me is just like, I just want to shut them up a little bit,
It won't. They'll blame it on blame it on VAR or something.
Yeah.
But I think with the roster that the U.S. has, obviously Christian Pulisic is definitely the kind of the face of the team,
Right.
But Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, I mean, all these players.
Yunus Musa, an Englishman.
That's right. Who chose to play for the U.S. He was born in New York. I think he spent about 15 minutes here, and he was like,
Hey,
what?
good enough for us.
I think when you say you chose to play for the US, there might be some people in England who partly made that decision for him as well.
But there's so many players that are playing in Europe that are playing at a high level even right now that I think they're being underestimated by the English. It's easy to just be like, oh, they're American.
One of the suggestions is we have to eat beans on pizza.
Or pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, oh my, never. Hawaii has to win the World Cup if we're up to that. Actually, it's Canadian.
Yeah.
They invented it. So Canada wins the World Cup.
But what
all
you're
year.
seeing though, is so generally speaking, I don't want to offend you guys again by dismissing like the Americas, which I don't think I was doing anyway. But anyway, the best players come to Europe, right? So the fact that you've got a load of American players playing in Europe consistently it speaks for itself. So I mean, if they can blend and mix those players into a national team setup, which a lot of nations find hard to do anyway, then they're going to have success. And I don't think it's an automatic that they'll get beaten by England. I think a lot of people see England and overrate them the same way that you probably think the US are underrated. I think it's probably quite equal in that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jamals who say Weston McDonald instead of McKennie doesn't even make the England B team.
Yeah,
I mean,
he doesn't exist. Crucially.
Yeah. Thank God for that. What do they play in the championship?
Yeah.
Look, at one point, I get that. At one point they actually had to put a Team USA in the NASL where Pele played, just to give USA players a chance to play together.
Okay.
Because the structure that Europe has, we didn't always have.
Yeah.
As a USA, we've lagged behind ever since finishing third in the first World Cup ever. Obviously, we lagged behind until the 80s. So we are. There's a lot of makeup that's happening right now. We're sort of, but I think we are doing it in a faster pace. But
I think also what's interesting is that the really good prospects that are American will be the scouting networks in Europe are so vast now. They'll be picked up, and I mean, Pulisic's a great example. his entire football education would have come in Europe.
Right.
So that elevates him as a player just because there's a far better tradition of football in that part of
Right.
the world.
Coaching is more developed there, especially at a youth level.
If you look at the US squad, say in '94, I wouldn't be surprised if every single one of them were playing in America. Like they'd all been playing in the US, all of them.
Except Dempsey.
No, 94.
94. Yeah.
I believe Alexis Lawless might have been playing
Was in Italy.
In Italy.
But that was it.
He did like a season in Serie A.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There might
So,
have been a couple.
but the point being now, if you look at the squad now, it will be completely varied.
Yeah.
And that's part of the change. The
And,
transition.
to the chagrin of a lot of Americans, that started with Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yeah.
Jurgen Klinsmann made it very apparent to say the bond between U.S. soccer and MLS. He started that sort of, that is it chasm? Is that the word that just went
Schism.
Schism?
Yeah.
That definitely wasn't what I was going to say.
He's
That sounds
fun.
dope, though, whatever that
It's a great Tool song.
Wasn't there like an old 90s rap song about schism? Anyway, that gap was widened because he said he wants his players to play in Europe. That split with the whole idea that the American national team should come from MLS players. That sort of opened that up. And Greg Berhalter, to his credit, has always said players need to be playing at the highest level possible, which is like the lightest, most political way of saying, get your ass to the Premier League.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that most national team managers would be the same. They want their team. They want their players to be testing themselves against the best other players, and then the challenge becomes not how do we get this group of players who aren't playing at any kind of level and elevating them. It becomes how do we get these great players and blending them into a coherent team, right?
Okay, I want to make sure I get to this. This is obviously you are one of the co-hosts of Football Ramble. Go follow him on Instagram at Football Ramble Daily. But you posted this recently, and I want to make sure I address it because you said you took a lot of stick for this. Which Premier League fans do you like the least? Which is who posed this question? Who pitched this idea? Because there's no way this doesn't anger a couple people.
So
There's no win here. This is a loss for you to have answered this question.
and I know that now.
Yeah.
But like the preparation for a Ramble episode.
Wait, you didn't know that before?
After 15 years.
Back in the mini disc days, you didn't think this was a bad idea?
No, I was listening. But the preparation for the Ramble each day goes so far, and then it's probably frustrating to the production team because we go in there and then we'll freestyle a bit, and then it goes a bit off piece.
How annoying is what we do?
And Marcus, I think, just said that to me in part of a conversation.
Yeah.
And I just said I hated every team's fans, but I don't. It was a joke.
Yeah.
And you are going to further propagate this myth by pressing some button on that.
He's playing it as we speak.
I'm not playing the audio, but people are seeing.
But there is captions.
Yeah.
For those of you who wondered, he said you open a can of worms, and then he literally starts listing, I don't like Southampton, I don't like Chelsea, I don't like Liverpool.
No, I don't like Southampton. That's the one.
Yeah,
I don't
because you're
you're
Pompey.
Exactly,
right,
exactly.
Yeah, which I've always called Pompeii. And I realized that is wrong.
But that's your problem.
Yeah, no, it's all me. It was thank you to Ellie Menjum that I learned how to say it.
Right, okay, yeah.
It's Pompey.
So I say the real heads will know that I was joking because I said Crystal Palace, who are my local team, and I'd never say that about Crystal Palace. I was clearly joking. Right. But as you guys have found out a lot of your TikTok
Are you in
comments-
Richmond?
No, I'm in West Norwood. Richmond's
okay.
in southwest, and Crystal Palace is like southeast.
But I thought Selhurst was near Richmond.
No,
No?
it's not.
Okay.
You're going to challenge me on that?
No,
It's the first time in the show.
out.
I feel confident.
I will admit I'm wrong.
Stick to the pizza, buddy.
Yeah.
Not London geography.
Here's what I know: Richmond's trash in both the towns you mentioned.
But when I saw this, look, I'm a huge fan of it. I mean, it is messy. It is even just posing the question because you know the kind of tribalism to every Premier League club and just being a football supporter at all. So when you answered this question, and even knowing jokingly, what was the most, at least online, what was the most vitriol you got from any particular fan base?
I don't read any of that stuff.
Oh, wow.
No.
So
I
then
don't read
answer
it.
this: who's the most sensitive? Who do you think would have been?
The most sensitive fans. But you're basically you're trying to get me to do this again. In a
No. We're saying we want to know the reaction. We're more about the vibes here.
So you're now saying to me that was a really stupid thing to do.
No.
And now you're asking me to
Do it again.
I'm not answering that. Probably Liverpool fans are the most sensitive. I would say Celtic and Rangers are quite sensitive.
Well, for
Okay.
good reason, right?
Well, for a reason.
Yeah, they're in another country,
Yeah.
and no one respects them.
I don't think they. Well, that's your words, not
No, I
mine.
was talking about your people don't respect them. The English,
Well-
because the question gets posed once a year.
Do you know what I think happens? Here's what I think. Here's a semi-sensible answer. In Scottish football, I think Scottish football fans who really love Scottish football will see English people who don't really watch Scottish football that much because they always watch the Premier League instead.
Right.
And then they're invited to talk about a Scottish football issue, and perhaps they don't have the basis of knowledge they should have.
Right.
And I would certainly be guilty of that myself as well. And so when you do offer an opinion or you do have a joke around or whatever, you get a lot of stick for it. And to be fair, it's probably reasonable, I'd say.
I'll double down on what you said. I was on stage performing once, and I mentioned the word soccer, and a guy comes up to me, he's like, "You really a football fan?" You know?
Yeah.
But very clearly Scottish accent, which is not what I just did.
Yeah.
Scottish accent. I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm an Arsenal fan." He goes, "Oh, what did he say?" He's like, "You're a glory hound? You're a glory hound?
Glory Hunter.
Glory hunter."
Yeah.
And I was like, I said Arsenal, dude. Were you
Yeah.
paying attention?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, Premier League fan." He's like, you should be a real football fan. He said, "I'm a fan of a team in the Scottish second division. That's what you should be doing." And I'm like, they're not even on TV. How would I?
you were better.
I'm like, I don't think you understand. Being a soccer fan is being a fan of is the equivalent of being a second division Scottish Premier League fan.
When I grew up supporting Portsmouth, they obviously don't really do much now, and they didn't really do much then. And
No, they
football-
had Crouch, right? I remember.
yeah,
when
they
were
had
in-
an FA Cup win in 2008.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there was-
The guy's spilling dates.
there was like a decent bit for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went to shit again. And but back when I was a kid, it was really hard to watch any football on TV, let alone Portsmouth. So a lot of my friends would end up starting to support teams they could actually watch on TV. But I never did that because my family wouldn't let me. But my point being that it's not practical for you to support a Scottish second division team when you live in New York City. I mean,
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even ever heard of your little town.
And that's why you're a glory hunter.
Yeah.
'Cause you haven't got the commitment.
Yeah, well, you know, when I started watching it, there were only two teams they showed here, which is United and Arsenal.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of people were United fans, and I was like, fuck that, I'm going to be Arsenal. And then Thierry Henry showed up, and I was like, well, that was a good choice.
Yeah. So Christian, how did you become an Everton fan?
The saddest way possible.
The only I had no connection to any Premier League club, and then Tim Howard was already there.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll pick Everton, and Lukaku was there playing well.
Well, this became a whole thing when we started in 2015. It was like, you've got to pick a Premier League team.
Yeah.
And I was trying really hard to make him an Arsenal fan. I was like, you got to pick one. And then I was like so close to getting him to be an Arsenal supporter.
But it's good that you support different teams because it's much more interesting. If you both supported Arsenal,
Sure.
you'd probably become an Arsenal show, right?
Well, no,
And no one wants
maybe
that.
maybe would have got paid by Arsenal. But I was so close, and then one day he shows up to my kitchen at the time where we were doing it. As I'm plugging in my mini disc player, he said, he goes, you know, I think I found the team. I want to be an Everton supporter, and I go, why would you want to do that? And he goes, I've been playing with them on FIFA. They've got Tim Howard, and this Lukaku guy is really good. And then, like, I think you pick Everton, and then, like, less than a year later, he's transferred.
Not less than a year, maybe 2 or something. Went to
Yeah.
Manchester United, and then
Everton's good for content, though. There's always something to talk about, right?
Always. And they've been really great to us. So shouts to Everton
Yeah.
Football Club.
So I would argue that if you're a football supporter at all, you're probably a pretty sensitive person. I think we've been around. We've even done stand up. We've done roast shows where we'll do roast jokes for soccer supporters, MLS supporters, and sometimes people come up to us after shows and said like, "Oh man, why'd you make fun of us so much?" And then some have come up and said like, "Oh, you didn't make fun of us at all. Why did you do
didn't.
it?" So there's
Only one tried to fight us during the show.
Yeah, I much prefer it when people. I much prefer the type of supporter that is very self-deprecating.
that's
But what you'll find is they'll be self-deprecating. But if you don't support the club,
Right.
you won't be allowed to be.
We can make the joke.
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
make the joke.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
with Portsmouth. Like, I'll just talk about how shit they are all the time.
Yeah.
But someone says like one thing, I'll be like top of the league. Yeah.
Actually,
Massive club.
Jamal wants to know, how does a Londoner support Portsmouth?
I'm not a Londoner. I'm from Portsmouth originally. So I moved to London in 2004, but I was born and raised in Portsmouth. That's how.
Do you have a different accent than I know North London definitely, but
But the thing is, I've been in London for almost 20 years, so maybe my accent's changed anyway. But I don't think it's massively different from down there
okay.
because it's only about 80 miles away. Everyone's really close by in England, right?
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is surprising they've got so many different accents, right?
It's insane how close
Yeah,
you guys
it's
are
just-
to each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
People are like, oh, I got to go all the way to Manchester. I'm like, what? That's that's going from the Bronx to Brooklyn. It's nothing.
Nick Red said, Christian is the one person with the 700-page, 48-point font Everton book.
Yeah.
Jamal said, LOL, Tim Howard tricked this. I'm not saying that word. For fuck's sake, he's stuck forever.
Yeah,
man.
You can't change it.
I don't mind it at all because I think as I've been supporting Everton and meeting so many American Evertonians, there's a camaraderie.
There's quite a famous Liverpool supporters club in New York City, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Is there a
there's
big Everton one as well?
Yeah, it's pretty big. The NYC
There is an
Talkies.
Everton support.
Right. Yeah. Am I looking at it?
I was just made chair.
He almost lost the vote. He won by 1 vote.
Yeah. And Alexis, you're wearing the shirt of a team that conquered Arsenal in the League Cup semi-final once.
Yeah, I just like old shirts. And then as I bought it from before my era, this was apparently a bad shirt to wear if you're an Arsenal supporter, but I like vibes, so
Yeah.
I'm wearing it. Also, everyone thinks it's a Galatasaray shirt, so I'm not saying anything,
Yeah,
and
it's
maybe
fine.
you shouldn't have either. Who
All
knows?
right. All right, we should wrap up. I
Yeah,
want to
let's wrap up.
I want to make sure we give a shout out to Luke and I know obviously Football Ramble and the whole network are obviously doing big things. But anything you want to make sure you give a shout out?
Yeah,
or
so
plug?
make sure you subscribe to Up Front, which is our women's football show. It's great.
Wonderful.
Won an award last year. It's got 2 great hosts and a rotating list of really interesting guests. They go to games, they do interviews, they do roundtable shows, and we're putting a load of effort into our women's football coverage this season. So do go and check it out. It's called Up Front. And then Football Ramble itself is broadcast every day, Monday through Friday, and then does some extra stuff at the weekend as well. There's lots of different types of shows on there, so do check it out.
Awesome.
Women's football in Europe, you think it's or at least in England, you think it's turning the corner?
I think the European Championship win for the England women's team is just huge.
The support's
Absolutely
been
huge.
amazing.
Yeah, and now what we're seeing already is a bleed over into club football because I think there's going to be a couple of, or that might have already happened now. I'm a bit out of it because I'm in the US, but there's a huge amount of supporters going to games at club level already off the back of what happened in the summer. So I think it's got a big future.
Awesome. Yeah,
Wonderful.
we went to the Everton women's match. They played in the Continental Cup.
Yeah.
They played against Durham, and while we were there in Liverpool, we got to see that match.
Yeah.
So it was great to see, and we met the woman that made the news for skipping work to go to the Euros. Do you
Right.
remember that?
Yeah.
She lost her job. We met her there. She was there.
Yeah.
Well, she lost her job because you publicised.
Yeah. Why aren't you at work? Was her first question. Your boss is here anyway.
It's great to see because here we've had plenty of female footballers on the show. We had Rachel Daly on the show,
Cool.
and it's I think because of the success of the U.S. women's national team,
Of course.
you see
Because of us is what you're saying.
yeah, pretty much.
You're welcome.
The US women's national team's always been great though.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
they've been
But
great for a long
they
time.
just create these absolute superstars,
Yeah.
and it was great for England to win the Euros because I think England should be exactly the same.
Yeah, well, these players who've won the Euros now, they're like household names in England, and that was never the case.
That's a
before.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's good.
Especially because they've been playing incredibly well in the WSL.
Yeah.
So for them to start to get the sort of like the flowers, if you will, of their
Yeah, that's great.
skills is
It's
great.
good. So look, check out Up Front, check out Football Ramble, and yeah, you won't go wrong.
Nice. I'm actually going to be in England for the Lionesses playing against the women's national team on October 7th.
Come and see us. Are you coming as well?
I don't know yet, but I might try to
Come
go.
see us. You should
We'll
come
see.
see us. It'd be
Okay.
great.
I can't wait.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
See
Thank you
all.
so much for everyone hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, whether you're listening to this. They've just changed the feed a couple weeks ago, so I know a lot of people are having trouble finding the podcast. Just go ahead and search for the Cooligans again and subscribe to the new feed. Unfortunately, that had to be redone. We're not putting them up anymore. Metal Arc is doing that, so they had to redo it. But go ahead and subscribe to that. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Is there anything else?
That's it. Shouts to everybody. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Seriously, we're excited about the studio. This space is going to come together. It's going to look really, really dope. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff here. And we're going to be doing a lot of extra content on Patreon. So go join patreon.com/soccercooligans so you can see some of the behind the scenes on how all this stuff is coming together. So
And thank you for everyone on Gully Squad for not telling, not I guess
Spoiling.
leaking
Yeah.
that we got a studio, because obviously they find out about it first. And also shouts to Gully Squad. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. You guys are the absolute best. Let us know if there's any interior designers in Gully Squad. What the hell do we do with all this fucking space?
Give us some ideas.
Because the only ideas we came up with was a fridge, that was my idea, and a couch, that was his idea. We got nothing else.
Wow, the things that will allow him to just sit down and do nothing.
If you come to my hotel in a minute, there's a fridge in my hotel room.
Buddy, we're moving it out.
They won't notice.
We love you guys. Hey, we're going to do a lot more no cap recaps. So if you aren't already a member of the Patreon, check it out, patreon.com/soccercooligans. Look at us.
We did it.
We
All
got
right.
a fucking studio.
Peace, everybody.